Ron, you're glowing today. I guess that's because your daughter's in town, but it might be also because you have the Peters hockey sweatshirt on, which is unbelievable.
Well, this was in honor of our good friend Eric Hagman, the former great Eric Hagman, who was a big part of this station, for many, many years. His son played at Peters Township Hockey, and I saw this. He said, "I'll get you one," and he did. And it's beautiful, isn't it?
Wonderful.
It's nice.
Love
and
the colors.
Warm and beautiful. A little hoodie. I thought of doing what you do. You always do this.
Get the hood going. You look great in that.
Get the hoodie up. But my am glowing because my daughter came in from Atlanta yesterday. Going to be here for 10 days. I took her to my favorite place, Domenico's, last night for dinner. We had a blast. I'm always happy when my baby is around, and you will find out one day what that means.
Well, mine's around. And today we were fighting, but that's okay. Everybody in the household was fighting. You know how mornings can be,
Well, they always
right?
usually fight with you, right? You're the easy target.
Yeah,
Bailey doesn't fight with you, though.
No, it's both of them fighting with me at the same time every morning. You know how houses can be in the morning. People in a rush to get out.
Yep.
Everybody nervous. Everybody tense. But you're doing well overall. I'm doing well overall. The Penguins didn't have such a great game last night, Ron. I didn't think it was as bad as some wanted to make it out to be. I saw a headline that said listless in the Post-Gazette. I would deny that. I would disagree with that. I don't think you go into Toronto and outshoot the Leafs 34-14 over the final two periods if you're listless. I thought they had some brain cramps
Real
for
bad
sure.
start. I mean, that breakaway at the very beginning, 21 seconds in. Now, that kid can score a few goals, can he? What was that, 33 last night for Austin Matthews?
Yeah.
What a player. What a young player he is. I thought Letang had an awful game last night, and he'll do that on occasion. He had the giveaway that led to a bad goal. And I mean,
Sid didn't have a good game.
No, none of the Stars did. I mean, I know Malkin got a goal. They're trying to get, Kapanen was demoted again off of the Malkin line. They put Carter up on that line, and I know I saw Sully thought they played a pretty good game, that line. But you knew they were going to do for one of these games, whether it was listless or just, Bob Grove had a note, and I think we're having Bob on today at noon. This has been the greatest 35-game stretch,
right,
matching it in franchise history.
Yes.
They've been tremendous. And then you had all the emotion of the Sid game.
Right, for Sid and the others
for
the other night.
Everybody. And, I guess I'm not surprised. Plus, Toronto's a pretty damn good team.
Plus, they outshot him 34-14 over the final two periods. So
that
even on a night when they made mistakes.
Their goaltender, Soupy Campbell, they called him Soup.
When the other team's goalie is the first star, you probably didn't have a listless performance.
Right.
That would be my argument. You may have made a bunch of mistakes, but that's different than being listless in my mind.
Soupy Campbell. What'd you think of Soupy? I love that nickname.
I thought he was pretty darn good.
Soupy.
Myself.
I guess their chants were Soup from the half the crowd that was there.
I think they may have as good a chance as they've had that I've seen, actually, the Leafs. I think they're a really good team. Of course, they might not get out of the first round either, but the same could be said of the Penguins because
the Leafs' history just works again. You were a very young man. Were you even born when the last one? Was it 68?
I was a very, very young man.
So, I mean, it's been a long, long time. We'll see.
I mean, their biggest problem is that they play in a division with the Panthers and the Lightning.
Right.
So
I'm not down on the Penguins at all. I'm going Sunday. I'm already looking forward to that game. Carolina here. That's basically a battle for first place in the division. I know Carolina, I think, plays Nashville tonight, and they have a couple games in hand on the Penguins. But it was just not their night last night. That happens over 82. As I said, Grove pointed out the best 35-game stretch in franchise history, matching it.
And they'd won 4 in a row, and they had beaten the Leafs pretty decisively a couple times this season.
You
can't win every game. You can't win every game. I'm sorry. And they easily could have won.
With the hoodie?
You look great.
Do you like the hoodie up?
Yeah, I think that look is for you.
Because it hides most of my face, and that's what people don't want to see.
I'll speak for myself. When I put up the hoodie, it also covers my baldness and bad hair. For me, not for you. That's not a comment on you at all.
For me, too.
Plus, you look younger with the hood up.
Yeah, I know. It's a beautiful, beautiful hoodie.
Check out Ron at 937thefan.com. Go to shows, go to live video. You can also watch us feed Horse his afternoon apple here in a couple hours on live video. That's always exciting for the masses. So Who cares, right, Ron? I mean, in the end, I hate to say that, but who cares about last night's game? You
One of
can't
82.
win every single game.
Nope.
And by the way, the Leafs are good, and they went into the game. You look at numbers, goals for, against, all kinds of things, record. Those are two teams that are incredibly similar. They're really talented. They took advantage of their opportunities. The Penguins didn't, partially because the other goalie played great. I thought Jari was pretty good,
I thought Jari was really good.
So,
I mean, he stopped Matthews on that breakaway. No, you're absolutely right. It's just one of 82. They're not going to win them all. Toronto is that Matthews kid is really something.
how about the end-to-end goal by Riley?
Yeah, well, that was really good too.
That was Gilbert Perreault in 1973.
Oh, here we
now,
go.
how does that happen?
Here we go with a Buffalo reference.
If we're going to be
How
critical,
about a Paul Coffey goal? How about a Paul?
Okay.
Reference to Penguins.
I mean, it was Bobby Orr, for God's sakes.
Stupid Buffalo.
I don't remember the last time I saw a defenseman go end to end.
Yeah.
It was kind of ridiculous if you want to point to one thing.
It a few times, and I remember Coffey used to do it quite often.
That's a rarity in today's game, and that was ridiculous to let a guy just walk through your entire team like that. But it was a great play by him too, and a great shot, I might add. Right?
Yep, sure was. I heard the teacher's Pedersen was down last night. Said we just didn't, our start wasn't what we wanted. When the other team scores 21 seconds in, that's not the kind of start.
Yeah.
The kind of start you want.
I mean, Dumoulin got caught up ice.
Yep.
Sid dropped back, and then the puck got behind Sid, and then all of a sudden you have,
a breakaway.
A really talented goal scorer on a breakaway. Now you're allowed to make the save too. Sometimes we always talk about who scores first, Ron. Isn't it also sometimes a case of who makes the first big save in a game?
No.
Obviously, you can't blame Jari. It's Austin Matthews on a breakaway, but who makes the first big save in the game? It might turn the other way then. But yeah, there was still plenty of hockey left, I'll say that.
59 minutes and 41 seconds or whatever it was.
I don't know. I don't care, really. I don't. Let's move on to Carolina, as Belichick would say, right?
Let's move on to Carolina.
Now, that doesn't mean
the next one.
That doesn't mean that there's no issues.
Trouble. I guess they didn't get home last night.
Who, the Penguins?
Yeah.
Because of the snow.
Apparently there was inclement weather in Toronto, and they had to fly home. Maybe they're home by now, but no practice today because they couldn't get out of Toronto last night. You love those kind of stories, don't you?
Yeah, I would enjoy myself in Toronto. I've had some good times in Toronto, Ron, on the road.
I had more fun in Montreal.
Yager confronted me on the road in Toronto. I told you the story the other day of him berating Jan Hrdina in Boston, and I was the only one who witnessed it, and I wrote it.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a chance to talk about that until Toronto, which was the next stop on the road trip, and it was in the hotel. And in those days, I was on the team bus going over to the rink, although I think you could walk from Toronto. But for some reason, we were in the hallway in Toronto. He put his giant hand and arm around me like it was a friendly thing, but it wasn't friendly. He had a little more of a tug,
he could have squeezed your head off, in other words.
And said, why do you write that? They're killing me back home. I said, okay, I just wrote what I saw. Was there anything not accurate, in it? So one of many unhappy days there. They also had a pretty good playoff series against the Leafs with Kevin Constantine after they beat the Devils. Remember, they upset the Devils?
That was Yager's big day, wasn't it?
He did it the next year, too. Was it his big day that year? Yes, it was. You're right. Game 6.
Yeah.
Game 6 with the groin injury.
He had a real bad leg injury, right?
Yes.
And still scored the winning goal.
And then they came back and won Game 7. And then they played Toronto in the next round, and I thought they were going to win. I thought they were going to go to the Eastern Finals, and they wound up losing in 6. Yager lost his mind. But, Ron, Toronto is a very nice place to visit.
I got a couple Toronto stories.
Please.
Not much more fun in Montreal because back in the day, I covered all those Pirate games against the Expos up there.
Yes.
They were in September, just
what
great
a city.
Games at the Olympic Stadium, and just so much fun. I only did a couple times. I went to what's the big play in Toronto?
What do you mean, like a Broadway show type thing?
What's like one of the most famous plays of all time?
You're asking the wrong guy, Ron. Horse, Guys, and Dolls? Is that what it was?
No. I can't. I'll think about it. So I went there for that, and I saw
Casablanca?
I saw a Blue Jays game, maybe on that same trip. But Paul Coffey gets traded to the Penguins, so they sent me to Toronto to do kind of his life story, and I, met his family and his buddies. His buddies took me out on the town. It was a pretty memorable evening in Toronto. I'll put it that way. One of the greatest
I'd love to have been there with a camera.
One of the greatest hockey players of all time. That
Paul
guy.
Coffey.
Paul Coffey.
Absolutely.
Nobody, well, I was going to say nobody could skate like him. There's a guy in the league right now skating like him, Connor McDavid. But it was a fun trip to Toronto. That was a great one. But I had spent many more times in Montreal.
Les Miserables. Yes?
Les Miserables.
That has to be it, Ron.
Maybe.
No?
I think so.
I got another Toronto story for you. A couple of them, actually. As we match Toronto stories.
Okay.
This is
I
an
match
upset
my
at the
night with
beginning of the
Coffey's
show.
buddies against anybody's, but go ahead.
Does the internet ever work around here, Horse? Have they fixed that part yet?
The Wi-Fi is never working, it seems like.
First of all, my daughter and I became Toronto Blue Jays fans. Traveled up to Toronto many times.
It's a horrible place to watch a game.
We loved it.
I don't like that. I don't like those indoor
We love their
places.
fight song. The Blue Jays have an
Now,
excellent
the
fight
hotel
song.
in the outfield is pretty cool.
And then the CN Tower you go to.
Right.
Which brings up another Toronto story. I took Wendy Smith there. We double dated with Peter Garbus and Katie Jeffries for the senior prom in high school.
Wendy and Katie, were they friends?
They were good friends,
Okay.
yeah.
And you and Peter were good friends?
Not really, no.
The girls over one.
Although we became one after I drank a zombie. And that's, how about Phantom of the Opera, Ron? Is that it? There you go.
That's
Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera.
They served me a zombie. You ever had one of those?
Probably, but I don't know what's in it. What is it?
It was way up in the CN Tower, or where they have the revolving restaurant.
Now you're 18?
I'm
17?
18. Yeah. I'm 18, and they served me a flaming rum drink. The thing's on fire when it comes to me. And it didn't hit you right away, so I figured I'd have a couple, and they all hit at once, Ron.
Now, was 18 legal in Canada or not?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was then anyway.
Right.
And let's just say the rest of the night didn't go especially well.
Wendy, you didn't throw up on Wendy like I threw up on Gretchen's porch?
No, I
did
just
ya?
think I needed to be looked after for the rest of the night,
All right.
which wasn't, I think, her idea of the ideal prom, right?
Right.
Now, here's another one, Ron. When Phil Kessel was winning his first cup here, remember how they hated him in Toronto and booed him, and he ate too many hot dogs and all of that? You remember?
I did. That was Steve Simmons' famous line about him and his hot dogs, right?
Yes, it was great.
I think, didn't somebody put out one of those images of the Stanley Cup, him holding it with hot dogs overflowing from it?
So good. And Kessel put out his own image of that.
Right.
It was great. I decided in the middle of the Stanley Cup final on a day off to drive to Toronto to see what the locals think of Phil Kessel now. And I went to Gretzky's bar that used to be there. I think it closed down. And just walked in and started asking people, what do you think of this guy now? Everybody happy now that y'all hated him and got rid of him? And it was a lot of fun. People mostly took it the right way. Somebody said this guy Gavin Brophy. I'm looking at my story right now. I also went to the Doc Ellis Bar and Grill. There's a bar.
Doc Ellis
Yes.
Bar and Grill?
Yes, there's a Doc Ellis Bar in Toronto,
Never
which is
heard
all
of
you
that.
need to know. You know what the bar's called?
Doc Ellis's Bar and Grill?
It's actually not a tavern or a bar and grill. It's simply called the Doc Ellis. So I was on my way to Gretzky's. I saw the sign. I said, did that just say Doc Ellis? It must be somebody not related to the Pirates pitcher.
Right.
No, that's
Spelled
what it
the
is.
same way,
Yes.
D-O-C-K?
And then you go in, and there's all kinds of Doc Ellis pictures. But this guy, Gavin Brophy, said Kessel was a pylon when he was here. I don't know what happened to him. People like that, just still bitter over Kessel. But it was a fun story. And, man, did he stick it to them, didn't he?
Sure did. He sure did. He's a great player. His shelf life, everywhere he's ever been, he just runs out of time.
Here's another one. This guy was wearing a Kessel jersey. Who cares, Ron? It was a fun night. Do you want to go to Toronto with me?
Not
Can we get
especially.
into the country
now,
right now?
Not with what's going on up there with Canada. No, I have no desire to go to Canada right now.
Maybe next year. You and I will make a road
I
trip
used to
of it.
drive. I mean.
Oh, yeah, 5-hour trip.
For you, it's 5 hours. For me, it was 10.
From where?
From here to Montreal.
Oh, Montreal.
From here to Ottawa.
Well, yes.
I used to
we were talking about Toronto.
I know, but I'm just telling you about my drives. You said, do I want to go there? And it brought back memories of my drive.
Oh, the drives to Ottawa were brutal in those playoff series.
Because you couldn't get flights that were, you had to either go through like Philly or Toronto, and they were so
Who would you go with, Moley?
One time, I believe. I think
was there a word exchanged for the whole trip?
Not until Syracuse, I don't believe.
I went with Rossi, Yowie, and Karen Price through a snowstorm.
Pricey.
It was unbelievable. It took like 10 hours, 11 hours. But
yeah,
you know what?
No, it's from here. It's 10. Yeah, 10 and a half.
The only thing other than the wonderful company that made it survivable was Tim Hortons donuts. Timbits.
We got Oakmont Bakery donuts today.
Do we ever? You know who else was in here, Ron?
Did you see a car went through the Oakmont Bakery window the other day?
Yeah, talk about being desperate for a donut.
Oh, my God. There was actually, our man Horst panicked yesterday. He goes, I'm wondering if they're going to be able to have donuts tomorrow with a car going through. I said, they'll find a way to deliver donuts.
That was me on Friday at about 10 o'clock if the donuts aren't here, Ron. Speeding up to Oakmont and just driving into the bakery. New meaning to the word drive-through, right?
So anyway, we got a little bit off track when you asked me if I wanted to go to Toronto with you. No.
Do you want to go to Oakmont Bakery with me?
Yeah, I'll do that. We got the Oakmont. When's the Open coming here? Just a couple years now, right? 25, I think.
I'm going to be in it.
Be in Oakmont.
Yeah.
You may be.
I may be playing in it by then.
Maybe.
The guys from TSC Sports were here this morning, Ron. Did you see some of the memorabilia they brought in?
I saw a Jack Ham helmet.
Oh, what a beautiful thing. They work out of Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Kansas City, and 2 or 3 other markets. So I said, do you do Thurman Thomas stuff? Yes. I'll be with him in Batavia in 2 weeks. I said, so will I. I'm going to go see my parents that weekend. He said, I'll introduce you to Thurman. I'm set, Ron.
I'll introduce you to Thurman.
Probably a bad time for a lost helmet joke right off the top.
You have a helmet out there. You can say, hey, Thurman, here's a helmet for you.
Oh, that wouldn't go well from the start, Ron. Doug Flutie, too, may be in Batavia. How about that? I still have a box of Flutie Flakes.
I was never a Flutie fan, although he did. I'll never forget the Miami play, the beat Miami.
He was good for the Bills, though. He got them to the playoffs. Had some magical finishes for them.
I can still see that past. Who?
Gerald Phelan?
Phelan, I think.
Was that it? Phelan?
Beat Miami in Miami. That was an unbelievable game.
I'll tell you what, Ron. The coffee back there is powerful. I didn't mean to be caffeinated today because I've sort of quit, but there's one back there that's called half and half. It ain't half and half.
You think it's
half
more
and
3/4 and a quarter?
Something happened here this morning. I don't even know what we're talking about. What was the original topic?
So I want to go to Toronto with you.
What's the next topic?
Whatever you want.
All right, I'll figure it out.
I got a good topic.
I know you do.
Let's talk about.
You do.
Let's talk about a guy who many people consider one of the greatest athletes to ever come out of Pittsburgh.
Let's talk about that.
Little tease. How about that's for?
And then I'll tell you who I think is the greatest athlete ever from Pittsburgh.
To me, it's a slam dunk. But we'll do that coming up next.
Yes.